What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to this Football Manager experiment here on my channel. And today we're going to be doing an experiment using the LFC Marshall update, seeing how Marc-André ter Stegen would get on, or as FM predicts he will get on, with his career, of course, at Barcelona, following his transfer, which of course is going through over the summer this year to Barcelona from Gladbach. So a little bit about this database, just so you guys know what's up. I'm playing on the LFC Marshall update. If you don't know, it's a database maintained by LFC Marshall, a member on FM base, and he basically updates all the summer transfers, all the promotions and relegations across the divisions around the world as they happen over the summer period, and releases updates very frequently. So if that's something that interests you, there will be a link down in the description to his Facebook page. I recommend you check it out. And yeah, it's worth checking out if you're a Football Manager fan and you want to keep your game up to date over the summer. So anyway, as you can see here, ter Stegen is at Barcelona. He's 21 years old, and of course he's made his transfer for £9.75 million to the runners-up in La Liga, obviously last season. So we're going to holiday to the end of the first season, see how he gets on there, and then we're probably going to go for 5 more years and take a gander, I guess, at his progression as a footballer, and just see kind of if he transfers, if he breaks into the Barcelona team, can he guide them to success? I'm kind of curious. Let's find out. Okay guys, so it is the end of Season 1, and the thing that sticks out to me immediately is the fact that he has not broken into the Germany national side. Obviously they have got Neuer in goal, and it looks like he has held on to his position. Indeed he has. He's only 28, so it's going to be a tough road for ter Stegen to really break into the German first team, but I'm pretty sure he's going to do it. In terms of his value, you can see he's already at double the price Barcelona paid for him from Gladbach. In terms of his stats, I wouldn't say there's been any major improvements. You can't really see any too huge. Obviously his wage is pretty hefty, but one thing that is worth noting is how well he has played in the Barcelona side. 19 clean sheets in 36 games. That's over a 50% clean sheet percentage in the league, and you can see in all competitions it's pretty good as well, although he has only made 8 continental appearances, so Barcelona clearly did not go on a good run in the Champions League this year. So yeah, overall 19 clean sheets, 27 conceded. You can see 36 appearances all in all. I believe there's 38 games in the La Liga season. So to me, what that implies is that maybe he got injured for a period. I guess we can check that really quick. Yeah, he got injured for 2 days with a stubbed finger. So whether or not that meant that he missed 2 games, I'm not entirely sure. That might explain 1 or 2 of the misses, I guess. Maybe Barcelona played a rotated side. But overall, he's not had the worst start to the season. Obviously, he's still second fiddle in the German side. And overall, he's improving at a pretty nice rate. And if he can keep having seasons like this, I'd be pretty impressed. Because in Football Manager, goalkeeper consistency is certainly hard to come by. So anyway, let's move on to the end of Season 2. See how he's getting on there. And maybe, just maybe, he will have broken into the German national team as the first choice keeper. Okay guys, so at the end of Season 2, ter Stegen has again improved, and he's actually broken into the German national team now. 4 first team appearances this year. I don't know why that keeps jumping out at me. It's just kind of odd, I guess, with Neuer, I guess, being sidelined of sorts. Has he been injured, or did ter Stegen really earn his spot? It does look like he did have a lower back stress fracture, although that was over last summer. That would have been the World Cup, so that might explain him maybe getting a few games. How did Germany get on in the World Cup? Let's check that out really quick, just out of my own curiosity. We'll also check how Barcelona have done the last 2 seasons with ter Stegen in goal. You can see Germany did reach the final. Did he play for them in that final? He did. Didn't have the best game, because they did lose 2-0 against Argentina, but you can see who else have Germany beaten. They beat Ukraine 3-2. That's not the best defensive performance in goal, although he did get a 7 average rating, so maybe he was key in that win for them. It looks as if Ukraine did have a few chances, although they scored 2 out of their 3 shots on target. They did beat Croatia 6-1 as well, Germany. He had a good game there, a 7.6. So he's playing okay on the national team front when he's been called upon, which is a pretty positive sign. In terms of what he's done for Barcelona, you can see here a 7.39 average rating. Again, another crazy clean sheet record, really similar to last year. Same amount of clean sheets, but conceded less across all of the kind of season as a whole in the league. Again, though, he didn't play every single game in the campaign, missed out on 2. So anyway, let's take a look at Barcelona and where they finished in the league the last few years. You can see they've still got Messi, and as I predicted, they have won the league the last 2 years. If we go to landmarks, can we see what they've won here? You can see they won the Liga last year, and then they're going to win it this year, although it hasn't officially been announced. They won the Spanish Super Cup, they came runners-up in the Spanish Cup this year, and their manager, of course, Luis Enrique, has signed a new 4-year deal at the club. So overall, Barcelona aren't doing too bad. If we look at their fixtures, you can see how they're getting on in Europe. So who did they lose to? They lost it after extra time to Real Madrid, but they've had a pretty good season all in all. They reached the Champions League semi-finals and went out 2-1 in the second leg, having drawn the first leg 0-0. Ter Stegen actually got a 7.3 average rating. It looks as if Barcelona were perhaps a tad unlucky when you look at the average ratings, although the stats suggest I guess a slightly different result. Busquets had a good game for them, but that wasn't enough. As you can see, Lewandowski, of course, transferred to Bayern on this database, but he did okay there. So it looks as if Ter Stegen's kind of finding his feet in the team and actually playing really well. He just needs a little bit more support from the players around him, perhaps going forward. But you know what? It's going to be interesting. How long is left of his contract at this point? His contract is another 2 years. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on over that time. His communication has gone up to 20. I have a feeling that was only at 18 before. So overall as a player, he is still improving at the age of 23, which is pretty darn impressive. So anyway, guys, let's go forward again. See how Barcelona and Ter Stegen are getting on. I'm going to be curious to see how the next kind of 2 years go along with his contract ending. Be interesting to see if he maybe transfers elsewhere. But anyway, I'll join you guys after another season. Right, guys, we are back. End of season 3. Ter Stegen breaking into the German team now. Good to see that, first and foremost. Neuer still is playing, actually. Let's check. Has he been injured again? That's kind of odd that Neuer would repeatedly get injured. In fact, he hasn't been injured. So that's just a case of Ter Stegen now stepping up to the mark as a player, which is good to see. His value has dropped because his contract expires at the end of this next season coming. Overall in the league, though, you can see 13 clean sheets and only 32 conceded in 35. Played pretty well in goal for them during their European campaign as well. And in the national team, he got a 7.27 average rating when he was called upon. So you can see that there. This has been his worst season technically, but he hasn't conceded all that many goals. Did his goalkeeping impact Barcelona's season? Indeed it did. You can see here Atletico winning the league there. So that's a little bit disappointing, I guess, for him to see. All in all, I want to say I'm surprised, but I can't say I am that surprised really. But yeah, that could be better. Could be better. Atletico winning the league. Who have they got playing for them? Because Diego Costa has transferred on this save, so Koki and Gabi still going strong for them. So that's not really too surprising, I guess. But interesting to see the fact that Atletico won the league this season. So he's not played that great. How have Barcelona got on in other competitions? Did they win anything this year? Let's find out. So Super Cup, they actually lost again against Real Madrid. And then they lost in the Champions League quarterfinals, but they did win the Spanish Cup this year. So that's not too bad. So it's going to be interesting to see how Barcelona get on in the coming season, particularly with Ter Stegen's contract running out. He's only 24, so I'd be amazed if they didn't renew it, but they may well look to sell him. It's a possibility, particularly given his declining form, but I guess time will tell. So guys, I will join you for the end of season 4, and we will see how Ter Stegen is getting on, be it at Barcelona or be it afar. Right guys, we are back 4 seasons into this now, and wowza Rooney. I just said wowza Rooney. My god, Ter Stegen is going to Dortmund. Dortmund, of all places, on a free. So let's have a look at how Dortmund are getting on. That's probably the first thing we should be checking. You can see here, they finished 3rd the last 2 seasons. Where are they set to finish this year? They are currently 3rd, so it's looking like 3rd again for them. But Leverkusen and Schalke leading the way. Bayern have dropped off the pace rather bizarrely on this database, finishing 4th in the Bundesliga. So there's that. In terms of Ter Stegen's performances this year, he's played well again. 17 clean sheets. I'm really surprised that Barcelona have let him go. But you can see here, it's 7.24 average rating, so that's an improvement on last season. He is playing again a little bit in the German national team squad, be it not consistently, only 2 appearances across this season. And overall, you can see He's done pretty darn good at Barcelona. They've played a lot of games this year. Did they get any more glory in the Spanish Cup or the Super Cup, which they've still not won? Okay, so they did win the Super Cup this year against Atletico, so that is an improvement, I guess. They also reached the Spanish Cup quarter-final, but they lost to Villarreal and they got knocked out in the Champions League quarter-final. So a little bit of success lacking for Barca in the league. In the domestic competitions, and even in the league they've suffered as well. Both Madrid teams surpassing them in terms of points totals, and indeed Valencia very well could have caught Barcelona up towards the end of the season, so that's a little bit odd to see. Brendan Rodgers as well is now the Barcelona manager. That is a very, very bizarre indeed. You can see they were predicted to finish first as well, so that's pretty disappointing for them. In terms of their squad, let's just take a quick look. So looks like Messi's still playing, Neymar's still playing. So it's a little bit odd to see them struggling as much as they are, because they've got some really good players still. They just don't seem to be performing right now. So it'll be interesting to see how ter Stegen gets on moving abroad. It also looks as if Barcelona are playing an 18-year-old in goal. Not necessarily ahead of ter Stegen, but he looks like a pretty adequate replacement, you'd have to be honest and say that. So maybe they're not too stupid letting him go in order to let this other player, I guess, develop a little bit more. Actually, ter Stegen is injured. How long is he injured for? 7 weeks to 2 months with a hip injury. Let's check his injury history. He hasn't had too many injuries, a few very minor ones. Mostly stubbed fingers, which isn't too surprising, I guess, given the fact he's a goalkeeper, but still a little bit odd. So yeah, guys, let's go forward 2 years. We'll go forward 2 years this time and wrap up this episode here. I appreciate it if you've watched to this point, and we're going to go forward 2 years, as I said, and see how ter Stegen is getting on at Dortmund. Okay, guys, so here we are for the final update of this save. Let's have a look at ter Stegen. As you can see, he's got a 4-year deal left at Dortmund, so he must have signed a new contract recently. Given the fact he's been at the club for 2 years now. He's only made 13 appearances for the national team, and in the league he's played fairly consistently for Dortmund, but he's not broken into the German national team, which is a little bit surprising. Overall, as a player, really hasn't improved in kind of the last 4 years. His communication has always been his main strength in goal, and that's still the case. In terms of the last 2 seasons he's had at Dortmund, you can see here, first season he only played 26 games, but he kept 12 clean sheets in that time, getting a 7.22 average rating. And then the following season, this year just gone, he conceded 33 and kept 12 clean sheets. Obviously, he played a few more games here, but that's still not the best defensive record. If you look here, you can see he did have a few injuries. That hip injury, of course, was during the kind of last episode. Since then, he's had a few injuries which have kept him out the team for weeks on end, which is a little bit disappointing for him. He's valued at 20 million and he's 27 now, and he's now on £94,000 a week. And to be honest, he's had a pretty good career all in all. You can see Gladbach is still his favourite club because he's a supporter. But he's, as I mentioned, he did sign a new contract. I don't get why he has a preference to play for Barcelona and would prefer not to play from Barcelona. I'm going to assume that's a bug. Either that or ter Stegen is schizophrenic in Football Manager and doesn't know what he wants to do. But overall, looking at the first 6 years of ter Stegen following his Barcelona transfer, it looks like he's going to have a pretty good time. Obviously, these last 2 years at Dortmund are pretty good. It looks as if they've actually won the league this year as well. Indeed, they have, which is impressive. And they won it the year before, so he has had a big role to play in their recent successes. If we go to their landmark tab, obviously he transferred in the summer of 2017. You can see that they won the UEFA Cup, the UEFA Champions League, before he even transferred to them. But since then, they've won the European Super Cup, Club World Championship, the league once. Klopp actually retired, and then they managed to retain their title the following year. But both times they came runner-up in the German Super Cup. Who did they lose to on each occasion? So they lost to Schalke on penalties, and the year before, who did they lose to? They must have lost to Leverkusen there. So that's a little bit odd, I guess. But overall, it's been pretty interesting to see how ter Stegen gets on. He's had a good career, but I'm kind of surprised he hasn't broken into the German side more. It's just a case of Neuer has held on for quite a long time to his kind of key role in the first team. You've also got Bernd Leno here, who's also been a pretty good German goalkeeper, who's now second choice, who's played pretty well for a few years. You'd have to say he's not played as well as ter Stegen, but that doesn't really take anything away from him because he's done pretty well. But yeah, that was pretty interesting to see how he got on here. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by liking the video, and let me know in the comments what you think of the format of these videos. I've not done an experiment series before like this, something that I might look to do because I know they're pretty successful on YouTube and people really enjoy them. So if you have enjoyed this, let me know. If you've got any suggestions for more experiments you'd like to see, maybe Diego Costa at Chelsea, David Luiz at PSG, let me know. We can sort them out. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.